Hello everyone, my name is Cindy and today I'm going to show you how to make your own embroidered card. So that's the front and there's the back. Now if you've signed up for the program, you will have received a kit. It'll look like this. Inside you will have a blank card. You'll also have some colored backing. As you can see, you'll have some thread. You'll also have a needle in there. And then finally, you're going to have a little packet that's going to show you how to make your own card. So one of the pieces of information is called How to Make an Embroidered Card, and I recommend that you read this first. Because it's going to tell you how to start the thread, how to end the thread, things like that. So it's really important to get those basics down. You're also going to have what's called a pricking pattern inside of it, and this is what you're going to cut out like I did, and you're going to affix it to your card and then punch in the pattern there. And then the last thing you'll have is the embroidered card instructions, which is actually going to show you how to follow the pattern. So you're going to want to make sure you have all three of those and follow them along. But right now I'm going to get you started so that you can make your own embroidered card. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to transfer the pattern onto your card. So you're going to cut out the pricking pattern like so. Then you're going to want to get a thick piece of fabric, like maybe a towel, or if you have a pricking mat, something like that, because it's going to make it easier for you to actually push the needle through. So we set our card out like this with the outside facing towards us, and then we're going to center our pattern wherever we'd like it and lightly affix with tape. Now we take the needle that was included in our package and we're just going to punch each one of these black holes into the card, and that's all we have to do. As you can see, I wrapped something around my finger so that I don't kind of shove the needle into my own hand. So if you have a thimble or some tape or something like that, I would recommend it. But we're just going to get started. When you're done, you should be able to turn it over and see that you have punched in the pattern on the back. Try to double check and make sure that you've punched in the whole pattern. And then you can just remove the pattern from the front. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our embroidery. So we just thread our needle. I'm recommending everyone start with the green so that we can do the stems. You just thread it and leave about 4 inches hanging. Don't turn it over or knot it, just leave it like this. And we need to consult our pattern instructions, which is this document. And then we need to use this pattern right here. We're going to start with the tallest stem, and we're going to start here, which is this hole on the pattern right there. So we take our pattern and we find the hole on the inside and just push our needle through. When you have about an inch of tail left, you're going to tape it down. And now we're going to do our simple back stitch. Back stitch just basically means you're going to be making straight lines, but sometimes there's going to be gaps between the lines and then you're going to have to go back and fill them in. So this is how I do a back stitch. So I put my needle through the next available hole, pull through. On the back, I then put my needle through the next available hole and pull through. You can see on the front there's a gap, so I'm going to fill that in by going backwards and pulling through. And then on the back, I get to go over this line again and pull through. But now I'm starting a new line. Back, go back, go forward, go forward, go back, now forward, and you are just going to do this to complete this whole long stem right here, these shorter stems over here, and most of this little twirl right here. So like I said, consult your pattern, get all of this done, this done, this done, and most of this done, and then we're going to move on. Okay, so I recommend that you actually try to finish all of the stems first if you can, but it's okay if you can't, because I want to show you how we're going to do this small bud right here, because you're going to use that same pattern to do the other petals on the flower in the center. So basically we just need to crisscross our lines over each other. So for example, I'm going to start here, which is labeled as V in your pattern, and it goes across to W. You just pull here, then you push your needle into the next available hole, which on the pattern is R, and it goes across to S, and you pull through. And then you use the next available pattern, or the next available hole rather, which in your pattern is T, and T goes across to you, and you just pull through. And so that is how you have a cute little thing crossing over just like that. And then it looks like our thread is getting pretty short. So I'm just going to take another piece of tape and I'm going to tape this down. there's a little bit of a tail left over. So let's just cut that off. And there you go. And so that's how you start and stop your thread. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to stitch the calyx. You just take the same color thread as your stems and you find where M is on the pattern and you put your needle through that, and then you stretch it across to the hole labeled N, and then we're going to go to the hole labeled O. That takes us to the one labeled P. Q. H. And then we're going to continue the sequence around, filling in these holes. Okay, and the first calyx is going to look like that, and then we need to go and do the second calyx. It's not 100% labeled the same way, but you're going to do it in the same general pattern so that you get this nice pretty starburst. I like to recommend people start here because that's kind of easiest to figure out, and it's also labeled on the pattern. And that is our two calyxes. Okay, once you've finished using your thread that does the stems, the small bud, and the calyx, I like to recommend that you move on to the center of our two flowers. So you're going to choose another piece of another color. I have an orange here. We're just going to thread it normally, and then we recommend that you start at flower 1 because it is labeled in the pattern. So this is our flower 1, and you're going to start at number 1, which is this dot here, right there. The dots that we're going to use are the ones that are in this very center circle. So it's easy to get confused. So just do your best to really focus and make sure that you're using the correct holes. Remember to secure your thread. And then we're just going to follow the pattern. So the pattern says that we go from hole 1 to hole 2 down here. Then we go to hole 3. Oop, there we go. From hole 3, oops, sorry. From hole 3 to hole 4. Five to 6. Seven to 8. And last, 9 to 10. And that is all it takes to to make the center of your flower. Now, if you notice on the pattern, flower number 2's center isn't labeled, but it's going to work in the exact same way. So as long as you just crisscross your threads, you're going to get this nice little kind of starburst pinwheel effect. And you are done with both centerpieces. Secure the thread, and then you can move on to your petals. The last thing we're going to do is our petals. So choose the third color that you haven't used yet. I've got some blue, and thread your needle. And then we're going to start on flower 2, petal 1. I recommend every time you start a petal, you start in these middle ones, because it'll just kind of keep things a little bit better organized for you so you don't get confused. So we just start the way we have. Secure the end. And then so that is A, and we're going to go down to B. Then C. To D. E to F, and follow that pattern all the way around the rest of this petal. Your finished petals should look something like that, and you're just going to repeat the pattern all the way around the rest of this flower. And so that is how you finish all the petals on the flower, and now you'll just go and do the same thing on these petals. Finally, we're going to want to do our flower bud over here. You're going to want to use the same color as the petals, and so that's this dark blue that I've been using. For the flower bud, you're going to want to start on G, which is this topmost hole right there. Then, according to the pattern, you're going to want to go from G to H, which is this one right here. Then to I, which is this one right here. I to J, J to K, K to L, and then we're just going to go all the way around the pattern. I actually made an error here because I skipped this hole here, so I'm going to go back and just take the thread out and fix it. And that is how you do that last little flower bud right there. As you can see, this part can be a little bit tricky because everything is so close together, but as long as you go slow, pay attention, and consult the pattern, you're going to get something that looks really nice. So, once you've gone through your whole pattern and embroidered it onto the card, it's going to look something like that. Don't worry if the back is kind of messy, because our very last thing is we are going to just cover that right up. So you receive a piece of colored paper in your kit, and you're just going to need to take some glue and glue it on down here. So the last thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just press this flat and give it time to dry. But once you're done, you're going to have this really nice little card with a beautiful embroidered pattern on the front and a blank space in the middle. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make your own beautiful embroidered card. If you have any questions, feel free to comment on the video or to email me at Cindy, C-I-N-D-Y, .butor, B-U-T-O-R, @pspl.org. And you have a great day. Bye!